Good evening, Cecil TV. I'm Grant Handley, your political correspondent. Joining me today is Russ Melrath. Russ, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. Russ here is the District 5 Democratic candidate for Cecil County Council. Russ, welcome again. Congratulations on making it to the general election. For those tuning in to the election now, who is Russ Melrath and why are you running for County Council?
Okay, well, the first who is, I graduated from Lincoln University across the Mason-Dixon line right up here in Oxford. And I got a scholarship to Pittsburgh, Pitt. And I got a master's in teaching at Pitt.
Oh, great.
And my first job when I graduated from Pitt was in Cecil County in 1972. And I taught at Bohemian Manor High School, and I was a baseball coach. I got paid $300 for being the baseball coach.
There you go. Big money.
So that's how I got my start. And after we were a young couple, my wife Liz and I, and we were living on a salary with a master's degree of $8,300. So we wanted to have children. So we decided that I needed to go into business. So that's what I've been doing the rest of my life. I started up a State Farm insurance agency in Northeast from scratch, and built it on up after 32 years, and took a early retirement from that at age 55.
Wow.
And then Liz and I went to St. John in the Virgin Islands. We started up a bed and breakfast in the Virgin Islands.
There you go.
So,
wow, okay.
that's the other business we had. It was called Lampshire Cottages, which we now sold to a young couple. So the only other things that I've been involved in, started up a Habitat for Humanity of Cecil County.
Wow.
And we built houses in Octorara Lakes in Conowingo, and we built houses in Crystal Beach down in Cecilton area. So that's pretty much is my background. As far as issues and why I was running, we initially got logged in back in February, signed up to run when it was the funding of the school systems, but that's been resolved now. So the next issue on my brochure is about smart growth, common sense smart growth. And an example of that that I can give you that it would be good would be they want to build where I am actually, my wife and I live in Chesapeake Club, which is the abandoned golf course south of Northeast.
Yep.
And if you've been through Northeast, you know that it's a one-lane road and it's busy, and it's on the weekends it's tough to get through town. And they want to build 200 more apartments south of town by St. Jude's.
Right.
And they're 4-story apartment buildings as part of that development of that land on the abandoned golf course. And I'm opposed to that. And the reason why is there's a place for everything, and everything has its place. And right here on the I-95 exit on 272 in Northeast, we have 4-story apartment buildings that fit in naturally, that are already built.
Right.
And that's where 4-story apartment buildings and apartments should be built. Single-family housing, it shouldn't be built on Elk Neck. We should preserve Elk Neck. And so I'm a member of the group Cecil Can, and supporting them in their fundraiser this Friday to try to control growth and make common sense growth for apartment buildings and single-family housing and that. But that's basically the issues. The only other thing, we were with this charter government thing we had with the funding of the schools and the primary in the spring, we were very lucky, because the problem with charter government is all the power is with the county executive.
Right.
And we saw an example of that. We were very lucky to use the primary system to reverse that,
Right.
to say to that person, that candidate, that what you're doing is wrong, and the schools need to be funded. Both of Liz and I's sons, Jason and Jared, went through Cecil County Public Schools. One's a lawyer, and the other one was a teacher before he passed away. So we're very proud of the county school system. We want to see it funded and continued. But the other thing we need to take care of is the prior county executive, the current county executive, till December, is she did not fully staff the ethics committee. And that is very important check and balance to have. because the members of both parties, and she did not fill a lot of seats. So I'd like to see the Ethics Committee fully funded, so that we can, and I realize that the party that's in the majority would have most of the seats, but the structure of that committee, it also has from the other party, which in this case would have been a Democrat, and it should be funded. So I'd like to see that done. I'm sorry.
No, perfect. You touched on a lot of great things, and just have a couple follow-ups with you, Russ.
Okay, sure.
First, let's talk about CCPS funding. As you said, hot issue. In my opinion, one of the greatest examples of political will that we had seen in a primary up to this point, at least in the charter structure that we have now in Cecil County. So the budget will go on year after year, and there could be, risks of a similar budget struggle again in future years. Maybe not, maybe so. As a county councilman, would you fully support a fully funded CCPS budget year after year?
Well, my background is in education. I know I'm a businessman now, but my background was in education. I was a teacher at Bohemian Manor High School, and I've got a master's degree in education teaching. So yes, I would fully support it. I'd like to see the checks and balances in our county government, and our county government be run as a business. And that's why I'm offering myself to serve, because I've got business experience running 2 businesses and 2 nonprofits.
Well, you seem like a successful businessman based upon your track record, Russ, and with CCPS being fully funded year after year, you may find yourself in a position where other governmental services or departments may need to take a cut or a reduction in service, or perhaps you need to increase revenue somehow. As a county councilman, how would you kind of weigh those options, and do you have a plan? Well,
that's interesting. We've had over the weekend, we've really had, you can tell that the ballots are already out there, the mail-in ballots, because we've got all kinds of questions at the Democratic headquarters on Main Street in Elkton. We had all kinds of questions yesterday about the amendments to the county charter, and questions the public wants to know, what's this all about? And that's what we'll be trying to answer, because they want to know the details as far as the salaries of the county council members, the county executive, and all of that. We are trying to do that and get up to speed. We were answering questions yesterday. I'm sure there were when I was in Democratic headquarters today in Elkton, there were 3 people in there already asking questions. They want to be able to vote and just mail in their ballots.
Sure. To our viewers at home, maybe a couple of months ago, Doug Donnelly and we did a quick piece talking about the Cecil County Charter amendments before they went to public hearing, so we will provide an updated analysis hopefully soon for you. But for those who are, in the meantime, they're voting early, voting ahead, it's worth giving a look over, and you can probably find that link in tonight's video description. But more importantly, back to you, Russ. I know some of the questions there were salaries for the county executive, salaries for the county council. Typically speaking, the salaries of those members are pennies on the dollar to the whole county budget. So if going back to the question, if CCPS is fully funded, how do you weigh other departments in terms of if a cut has to be made or if revenue has to be increased, how do you go about weighing those costs and benefits?
Well, on the county budget, or the amendments, they want to raise the county council members, which would be me, from that salary from $25,000 a year to $35,000 a year. And I saw some studies that saying that actually with inflation should be raised to $36,000. But again, I don't know how that amendment is going to fare. They're also raising the county executive salary, and I don't know exactly the amounts that it's being raised to. But I believe
there'd be around 90,000 to 125, 135, and we can fact check that later on.
Another thing that's interesting as far as the amendments is concerned, talking about the budget, which you're talking about, the nonprofits, they're wanting to start making donations to the nonprofits, such as the ones that I've been involved in. Not specifically Habitat for Humanity, because that's now Hartford County Habitat for Humanity, but that I was involved in, but they're starting making that part of the county budget to do that part, and that's one of the amendments too.
Okay.
So,
another really interesting point you talked about was it seems like you feel like the county executive has too much power, the county council probably has too little power.
Right.
As a county councilman, would you push for an amendment to change that structure somehow?
Well, the way it's currently set up, and with these amendments, it's the county council members are going to be, weak.
Right.
All the powers with the county executive.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can be there to be a checks and balance and suggest to the county executive things that they could do behind the scenes when they're meeting in their offices in the county office building. The other thing that's kind of interesting too about it, and this is important both in the two of the county council elections, they're going to be voted on at large. And what at large means, anybody in Cecil County can vote for both of these. For me in the 5th district, which is northeast, and Michelle in the 1st is down in Cecilton area. And we have 5, and only 2 of the 5 are up for election this particular year. The other 3 were done 2 years ago.
Right.
So they're already elected. But one of the things that they're thinking about changing, and I know Michelle, when you interviewed Michelle, she said that one of the things that she'd like to see done is that just the voting be just northeast, let's say.
District-based,
So in other words, when I'm running in the 5th district in northeast, number 5, that only the people in the 5th district would vote for me.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it is right now.
Right.
Right now, anybody that knows me from when I was a teacher at Bohemian Manor High School and was their baseball coach, they have an option to vote for me or against me. Same thing with people in Rising Sun, because I'm a Rising Sun member of the Rising Sun Lions Club. They also, if they know me, they can have a choice of voting for me or not. So that's what at large means, that everybody for these 2 council seats, county council seats, they're voted on at large, and anybody in Cecil County can vote for them or against them.
So if you were a county councilman, would you push for district voting per Michelle's platform, or would you?
Yeah, I would. I think she has a point that needs to be done that way, but that's not the way it is right now.
Yep.
But that could be an amendment in the future.
Interesting. Thank you, Russ. What differences are there between you and your opponent in this race?
We're both pro-education, and Dawn is excellent and has a background in education. We're both very pro-education. I have a little more, I say that, I mean, I've certainly been stressing my business background, the businesses that I've started and nonprofits I've started. But I do not know Dawn's business background, but I'm sure she'll point that out herself.
Sure.
During the next, what do we got, 31 days?
Yeah, who's counting?
Who's counting? Okay.
Great, that's interesting to know, Russ. Finally, as we wrap up today, what is just kind of your final pitch or message to voters as we start voting?
Well, I wish you could consider voting for me. At least you have the option if you want to the county government run as a business. I have a business background, and I have they're proven Cecil County businesses for 32 years, and also the background of it's kind of a personal decision why I started up, helped start up. Actually, my neighbors. The Bowers actually started Northern Chesapeake Hospice, but they asked me to be the treasurer of it, and it was an important part of my life, and that's what I'd like to see, done. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Russ Melrath, Democratic nominee for District 5 County Council. Russ, thank you for coming to the show.
Okay,
Really appreciate
thank
it.
you. Sure.
And have a good night.
Thanks.